Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mass Retirees Weekly Update. Today's Friday, January 17th. I'm Sean Duhamel. Thank you so much with joining with us and tuning in again this week. Now I have more very good news to deliver for everyone this week. 2025 has been off to a fantastic start for public retirees here in Massachusetts, as well as for many public retirees around the country in terms of the repeal of the Social Security WEP and GPO, and I'll talk a little bit about that in just a moment. We also have some very good news that came out of the States Group Insurance Commission's annual plan design meeting, which took place Thursday morning. But before I get into any of those details, let me first just remind everybody that today we will be kicking off our 2025 area meeting schedule with our area meeting in Tewksbury. It takes place at the Tewksbury Wilmington Elks this morning at 11 a.m. Mass Retirees area meetings are open to all associations dues-paying members. So if you're a member of Mass Retirees, you are more than welcome to come to an area meeting. Feel free to bring a guest. Now, we have area meetings all across Massachusetts throughout the year. So if you live in a different part of the state, do not feel compelled to drive a couple of hours up to Tewksbury unless you're looking forward to taking a ride on a Friday at midday. Again, we're going to have meetings throughout the state. The next meeting after today's meeting will be in Leominster. We also have a meeting in Boston coming up in the spring. We are going to hold a Cape Cod meeting in the spring. We're planning a few additional extra meetings this year, potentially in Framingham and potentially out in the UMass Amherst area, maybe even on the campus of UMass Amherst. We have a lot to talk about. We're trying to reach as many retirees as we can. When it comes to WEP and GPO, and I'll get to that in just a second, we want to make sure that folks are fully informed as to what's going on, so no one slips through the cracks when Social Security eventually implements this law. But back to our area meeting. The meeting kicks off at 11. Most meetings run about an hour and a half or so. We have Q&A. This gives you a great opportunity to meet directly with us. If you have questions, concerns, complaints, something private you want to talk about in person, the area meetings are the time to do that, either before or after the meeting. I'll be available. Our president, Frank Valeri, Nancy McGovern, our entire team. We shift in and out of meetings, but Frank and Nancy and I tend to be the three sort of mainstays at every single meeting, and depending on where we are and what's going on in that particular day. Some folks may be back here in the office in Boston or up at the State House, but typically it's always Frank, Nancy, and myself. So that being said, we are very much looking forward to tomorrow's meeting. It will be the first time we will have gathered as an association since WEP and GPO has been repealed. And nothing is going to delight me more than being able to stand up at that podium and finally being able to give a speech where WEP and GPO is no more. It's been repealed. Don't have to talk about why it's always been one step forward and two steps back, and deliver more bad news to our members. So today's going to be a delight. I'm actually filming this on Thursday evening. You're seeing it on Friday. That being said, let's talk about WEP and GPO. As of today, we do not have any new information on implementation of WEP and GPO repeal. The Social Security Fairness Act, of course, was signed into law on Sunday, December 5th by President Biden. The Social Security Administration came out with a statement first thing on Monday, January 6th, urging retirees to be patient. As we expected, this is going to take some amount of time to implement. Remember, there are about 2.1 million current retirees spread across the whole country who are impacted by the WEP law. And we have about another 800,000 or so retirees who are impacted by the government pension offset. Now, some of you are impacted by both, but combined, we're talking about roughly 3 million people that Social Security is aware of whose Social Security benefits need to be updated and adjusted relative to the repeal. So this is going to take some time. Now, our hope is that it happens sooner rather than later. And it's not a matter of if it's going to happen, it's when. And it will be retroactive to January 1st of 2024. Now, if you're a new retiree or someone who's not yet collecting Social Security, you can go ahead and apply for it at any time. Now that the law has been changed and WEP and GPO have been repealed, it's our understanding that new Social Security applicants from this point forward will receive the full Social Security benefit that you earned, that you paid for, and that you're otherwise entitled to. But those of you who are currently collecting a benefit, your benefits are the ones that are going to need to be updated. So as we have been saying, members need to be patient, you need to sit tight. There is nothing at this time that you either need to do or can do. Now, we've heard from some members who have tried to call Social Security or even gone down to your local office and you've been turned away, and for good reason. It's premature. There is no reason for you to show up at a Social Security office to talk about having your benefit adjusted when they're not ready to do that yet. They will let you know. We're hoping that people's benefits will be automatically updated without you needing to do anything. But again, we have not received final word from Social Security as to how this is going to work. Once we do, we will get that information out to all of you. In the meantime, in addition to being patient, please be very, very careful about the information that you're seeing online or that someone's sharing with you at the local coffee shop, if you run into someone at the supermarket. There's a lot of rumors out there, there's a lot of misinformation, and most of it is not correct. If you're not hearing it directly from Social Security or a credible organization like Mass Retirees, then you need to take it with a grain of salt because you cannot be sure that it's accurate. I've seen several videos up on YouTube with folks proclaiming to be experts on this issue who quite honestly don't have any clue what the heck they're talking about. It's complete nonsense. And we live in a free country, we have freedom of speech, they're not charging any fee for this information that they're putting out there, but it's really a crock of garbage. I'd like to use stronger language, but this is a family-friendly channel, but you know what I'm getting at. Be careful. We are not going to share information or get involved in rumors or anything like that if it's not coming directly from a government source letting us know this is what's happening. So you can depend on the information that you're getting from Mass Retirees, and I would say most of the public employee unions out there are doing the same thing. We're making sure we get that information and we vet it before we get to you. Also, going forward, we are anticipating that we may see some different types of frauds trying to be perpetrated on retirees. You know, fraudsters know, or they're learning, that this money is coming, that retirees who are impacted by WEP and GPO will be receiving a large retroactive check at some point. So naturally, that is sort of open to fraud. So be very wary of anyone promising like a payday loan or that kind of nonsense. Again, if it's not coming directly from Social Security, ignore it. Do not take anyone up on any kind of deals that they may be offering, promising that they're going to get you your money sooner than someone else. They're not going to be able to do that. They're trying to take advantage of you and steal your money. So be very, very careful. Now, on the upside, we are in the process of putting together a special edition of our newsletter, The Voice, to commemorate this very historic and important moment in history. The amount of phone calls and letters and emails that we have received, that I have received personally from our members, is humbling to say the least. And I cannot express my gratitude to all of you for reaching out. And all of us here at Mass Retirees, we're trying to get back to as many people as we possibly can. Inevitably, I'm not going to be able to get back to everyone, but I want to promise you that I'm getting your messages, I'm reading the notes and the letters and the emails that are coming in, I'm listening to the voicemails, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. It means a lot. Thank you so much. I don't know what else to say beyond that, but thank you. And it's our hope to get you this money as soon as we can. But in the process of putting together the special edition, which we hope will be in your hands by sometime in early February, we've been going through our archives here at Mass Retirees. And kind of by nature, we're all sort of pack rats here. We have archives of detailed information on bills in our newsletter and different things we've been involved in going all the way back to 1968. And to give you an example, this is just one volume, 1995 to 2004, of copies of The Voice, our newsletter, which comes out 6 times a year. It came out 6 times a year back then. It comes out 4 times a year now. But Bill Reary and I, and Nancy McGovern and Frank have been going through these newsletters, pulling together all kinds of information for the special edition, and also updating my memory, because there's a lot of things in here over the past 30 years that I've been directly involved in that, quite honestly, I forgot about. One of them is a meeting that Ralph White, our founder and former president, and Ralph unfortunately passed away about a year ago. It's sad for all of us that he wasn't here to see us finally be involved in this great victory for our association, but I know, he's looking down and smiling. He's also saying, Sean, move on to the next thing, because he was very much combat Marine. You're always focused on the next fight, the next hill to take. That being said, there was a meeting in May of 2001 that Ralph and I had with former Governor Jane Swift. It was just weeks before she became governor. She was still a lieutenant governor. Back then, we had initiated a process of trying to get our Massachusetts state officials involved in the national fight surrounding WEP and GPO. Governor Swift was the very first statewide official here in Massachusetts to do so. She sent a letter to then President George W. Bush urging the Bush administration to get directly involved in this fight and work to either repeal or reform WEP and GPO. And we gave Governor Swift credit back 24 years ago. I want to do so again publicly. Jane and I exchanged emails over the past couple of days. I sent her a copy of what we had put out. My takeaway from that, and as I said to the governor, I had a lot more hair back then, to say the least, but it's been very nice going back through our archives and reminiscing about all the work that's been done and all the people that have been involved in this fight for a very, very long time. Now, the sad part is a lot of the individuals have since passed away. That same article included a clip on the Mass Association of Contributory Retirement Systems, MACRS, who attended a national conference and spent time up on Capitol Hill back in 2001, met directly with former Congressman Barney Frank on these issues. The MACRS delegation that's included in that article that we ran back in 2001 have all since passed away. So we've lost a whole generation, if not more, of public retirees who never were able to see any relief from WEP and GPO, and that's sad. But I know everyone would be very proud of what we've collectively accomplished here. They'd be very happy that retirees going forward are no longer going to have to be burdened by this. And we're very much looking forward to getting the special edition to all of you, particularly those of you who are newer members, to give you a glimpse at our work over the past 41 years and how we got to this very historic point, and why there's a lot here for all of us to be very, very proud about. Now, moving forward, the other piece of big, very good news is, again, the GIC's plan design meeting that was held yesterday. The GIC staff, led by Executive Director Matt Vino, has recommended to the 17-member GIC Commission that they hold the line on out-of-pocket costs again for FY26. Now, FY26 starts on July 1st of this year. If the Commission approves the staff recommendations at their meeting on February 6th, it will mark the 8th consecutive year where the GIC has held the line on out-of-pocket costs. We haven't had really any sizable or significant changes in plan design in 8 years, which is pretty remarkable. And credit really needs to go to Matt and his staff, who again have made it their focus not to cost shift, not to take the easy way out and force you to pay more so the state or local cities and towns can pay less. We've been down that road before, and we know from experience and all the research that has been done that in most cases, increasing out-of-pocket costs does not move the needle in terms of controlling healthcare costs. There are a lot of tools that perhaps should be implemented going forward to gain control over those costs. And if you've been paying attention to these messages in our newsletter over the past couple of years, you know that our association is becoming increasingly concerned about the increase in costs on our members. We have an affordability crisis when it comes to health insurance and health care, and something needs to be done about that. But that something is not a broad-based increase in out-of-pocket costs. Your copayment, your deductible, the price you're paying for your prescription drugs, those sorts of things on a broad-based scale do not move the needle. There are other tools that can be implemented going forward. And Matt, toward the end of yesterday's meeting, indicated that. He indicated that over the next year, leading into FY27, so about a year and a half from now, the GIC needs to figure out steps that can be taken here in Massachusetts to gain control over these costs. Now, we have made it very clear to the GIC, as well as the health insurance community, and really anyone who will listen to us, that we want to play a role in that process. It's important that all of you have a voice in those conversations and that you have a seat at the table. Because at the end of the day, you're the ones who these benefits are for. You're the ones who depend on access to the highest quality, affordable health care that's available. So that's why it's so important that mass retirees play a key role in these conversations and that we do our part to help gain control over costs. Now, there are things we're doing independent of the GIC or the insurance carriers, partnering with Sensio Systems in their IBIS telehealth platform, partnering with EO in their approach with medical cannabis and medical marijuana in certain instances. And we're looking for other ways that we can partner up with private sector vendors who are doing innovative, interesting things that are going to benefit our membership and improve the quality of your life and help gain control over healthcare costs over time. There's no quick fix to any of this. It's a very complicated, very controversial at times topic, but we're going to continue to do our part. But for today, we are very pleased that there is no knee-jerk reaction to growing healthcare costs. Now, that being said, we know that costs are going up for FY26. And at the GIC's meeting later in February, they will be voting on and publicly stating what those costs are going to be. But at the meetings that the GIC held last November and December and again today, or I keep saying today, it was yesterday by the time you're watching this video, we know that those costs on average across all of the GIC plans are going to go up around 10% or so. We're hoping it's lower than that, and for some plans it may be lower than that. But for some of the GIC's plans, it may be higher than 10%. It's going to vary depending on the carrier and the plan type. But the fairer way to spread those costs out, we believe, is through insurance premiums, not through out-of-pocket costs. And remember, the state and the cities and towns who are participating in the GIC bear the lion's share of those cost increases. The state, the GIC, primarily is a self-insured plan. That means that the insurance companies are being paid a fee to administer the coverage. No one's making a profit off of you being sick or needing to access care in terms of our insurance carriers or the Commonwealth or cities and towns. We're very thankful for that. We're very lucky here in Massachusetts to have this type of system. Even though it's expensive, it's convoluted at times, very confusing certainly, and it desperately needs improvement. But we know, looking around the country or even some of the private sector plans here in Massachusetts, it could be a heck of a lot worse at the same time. So with that, I'm going to sign off for this week. We'll have another update for you next week. As soon as we hear more or something from Social Security, we will let all of you know. And finally, if you're in and around the Tewksbury area today at 11 a.m., come on by the Tewksbury Elks, say hello. It'd be great to see you in person. We have a lot to celebrate. We have a lot to look forward to this year. Thank you so much for being a member of our association. If you're not a member, please consider joining with us. We can only achieve what we achieve because of the great strength of our membership and the fact that all of you are so engaged. Thank you again, everybody. Bye-bye.